My name is Ian Ches and welcome to the second round of the rapid segment of the first chess festival of Caruaru. My opponent is unrated and I'm playing as the black piece. And here the game starts. D4, that's a queen's pawn. I respond knight f6. And c4, that's a queen's gambit. I always want to play my king's Indian. G6, playing after putting my bishop on g7. He plays knight c3 to play e4. I fianchetto and knight f3 just developing in the center. That's a very common king's Indian position. He will be wanting to put the 3 pawns in the center with e4 next. I castle, get my king in safety, and he plays e4. I play d6, trying to put my knight on d7 here, and push e5 to get the center. Bishop g5 here, he chooses a very aggressive variation. I play knight b7, just going with plan to push e5. Now bishop d3, just looking to develop the bishop on the most natural square. He wants to castle his king, and here comes the pawn of the king's Indian, which is for you to castle first, then white, because now your king is in safety and you can develop further, while white is wanting to castle just right now. Now e5, I want to strike in the center, actually develop my pieces now that he has these 3 pawns in the center. They're very strong, though it becomes kind of a problem the spin of his bishop to my queen, but it's all too good. d5, not giving me easy counterplay whatsoever. Knight to c5, I'm trying to put my knight in the center and actually give him problems. I'm opening up my light square bishop, so that's good. Bishop c2, not giving the bishop pair to my knight, very normal. And here I play a5, that's very common prophylactic move in the king's Indian. You just don't want to allow this b4 pawn push that would kick your knight. Your knight had just pushed here, so we had to go back. So you have to play this a5 most of the times that the knight lands on c5. Now here, just castles, very normal move, just getting the king off the center. It's very fair that he plays this. But now my counterplay comes, as the king's Indian says, you castle very early, so your opponent has to castle afterwards. So you can now just go and have some fun playing around with your pieces and trying to develop actually attacks whilst, him just trying to get his pieces like out. He lost some tempos putting the pawns in the center whilst you didn't. But everything is too normal since he got also the pawns in the center, which you don't. b6, I'm just trying to get my bishop to be developed, or on b7 or on a6. But this diagonal is much better for my bishop. I'm trying to leave it, but it just runs onto his pawns, so that's not so good and very inaccurate. Now here h3 is fairly okay move. I mean, you are first of all not allowing bishop g4, which was the best plan back then to develop the light square bishop. It's very nice that you have this here and also a breathing square for the king. This is useful. We already have one with g6 here in the king's Indian. That's very common, but here, very fair. But now that I have committed to this, squares is going to be it. I cannot unchange it, so yeah. Here, bishop a6. Actually, this move is marked as inaccurate for Chess.com, but it has its ideas. It's hitting this pawn here, but it's very easily defendable with whatever. I mean, b3, you can play queen e2, so it's very easy defendable, but I didn't play bishop b7 because it would look at just pawns. I don't actually have to move this bishop, but its own CA is reaching throughout very good diagonal. I remove it from this diagonal, do opening principles, and get the rooks connected. He played knight d2, which at the game I thought it was very weird because he's retreating a knight to a not so good square as it seemed. But actually, it's much better than the knight was on f3, which wasn't reaching much squares. This is actually the top engine move. The other ones were b3 and queen e2, as I said, but this is the top one. It's doing a very good defensive role at this pawn because my knights are also looking at this pawn and it's defending here fairly. It's opening up the queen's diagonal, so it's a fairly good move, but you gotta be careful with these knights' retreats because, they are always very weird. You're underdeveloping a piece, so it's kind of hard to maneuver if you're not so experienced. Now, I play queen c8, trying to get off the pin of the bishop to the knight and my queen. But it isn't the cleanest plan. I should have played h6 and g5, which I didn't know. I just played this so I could get out. And f4. Now here my opponent makes a big mistake, since this pawn is a big caveat in my position. It's blocking this bishop's diagonal, and it's a very important piece on the King's Indian is the g7 bishop. So now he lets me take and open up this bishop, actually making my piece go into play. This knight hadn't played in the game, this bishop hasn't, so I just wanted to do this. I want to take here, so take. Now, knight f d7, that's a very important move, and actually the only move in the position that keeps black with the advantage. I want to pass my knight through e5 square that was just now freed up. That's a good thing about taking this pawn here, because it's looking throughout a lot of the important squares, vital squares of the white position. Now here, queen to f1 is a big blunder because, well, there's a simple refutation. f6, bishop h4, and g5 is a fork. It's not very easy to find these. It's alright. I mean, everyone has lost tactics in their lives, but I could just close the game right in here. I played knight to e5 here. Very fast move that I did. I shouldn't have done this fast. I didn't even stop to think about f6, honestly. But it is a rapid game, so I gotta play fast. But now it just equalizes because my queen is just terrible on c8. And I'm not threatening the c4 pawn that I would be threatening in some other positions, because now the queen on f1 defends it. So now he can just bring the rook back, and the bishop will have more squares to go to. Now my opponent plays rook d1, a very mysterious move. I do not know why he would want to put the rook on this closed file. I don't know why he would do this. And if you ask if f6 works right here, because the same idea, no, because now you can take, and we land onto this position, which after the following moves, that's the whole point. I think this is very ugly, and though it's a top engine move, I would never play it. So I went with h6. I thought of f6, but like very ugly, you know, giving up a pawn. So I just go h6, trying to kick the bishop. The bishop is very ugly here. And then bishop f6, trying to trade the pieces. I mean, nothing more than this. I, of course, do not want to take because I'm activating his pieces. I'll just keep developing mine to better squares. Queen d7, I play this move here mainly for, you know, connecting the rooks and finishing development. But there's also two other motivations for me to play this move, which is to get this diagonal for my queen and free up the c8 square for my bishop. It will land here sometime, because this diagonal is much better for my bishop than the other ones, as I said, but there isn't much more to it. Now here my opponent takes a 2-minute long turn, which for a 10-minute game is very crazy, just to play an inaccuracy. King h1 is a very strange move, and I think it's like very bad actually. Telecom just gives it an inaccuracy, but I don't like it. Mainly because there is literally no threats on this diagonal. This could be the only type of reason for this move, that I could check on this diagonal and maybe there was some threats. This move literally does nothing. If it does something, it's just to make the king even more weak. It's just giving me time, so not good. Rook ab8 is a move that I was proud to find, because, you know, it's very weird looking move, but the position is closed, as most of the King's Indian position are closed, and normally you have to get a pawn to break just the structure so it can open up. Normally you do this throughout f5, you know, in the start of the opening. But here I do it with b5. It is what I have available, and it's very hard for you to see in King's Indian people playing on the queen side, but this is what will happen in this game, and he responds very quickly a3. The purpose of this move is to go b4, and after take, kick my knight to a very bad square. I cannot go b5 because there's this threat, and my knight will be very terrible. So I play what most players would, queen to e8. Not actually this move, but moving the queen, just trying to get a breathing square for my knight. I want to attack this bishop, make him make a decision. So I cannot just go to b7, then my bishop would be terrible. I want to go here and get the game to go on. b4 as expected, and I think a little before going takes, and then knight fd7 as planned. Now this move here is very nice for me at least, because this bishop is very annoying and I'm attacking it with the knight. And here you have three choices. Of course there's the worst one, which is taking the knight. You're just giving the bishop pair and getting my knight to be in the game. This is very nice position to me. The other one would be, to take. That's the most logic one. That's what he did in the game. And actually the best move in the position is playing bishop a4 to pin the knight. Here you take, apparently, and then after rook takes, have some stuff with b5, to block here and take the rook. Try and do that. Yeah, it's very hard variation to find and even to calculate with engine. So he just took. Just king takes, and then b5. I mean, this move here is just bad because it's giving me time, it's doing me what I want. My bishop is bad here. I do really want to go back to c8, which is the best square to it. I have said it many times, but I just got it to b7. It was the most natural square to me. I mean, technically it is the most natural square for you to put the bishop, but it's not that inaccurate. The second best move is like almost the same evaluation, but not so good. Now rook f2. This move is kind of hard to explain because there's only one reason for it to play this move, which is to put knight on f3 and then exchange pieces. This is a very good try for my opponent, I have to say, but it's not the most accurate here. I would definitely prefer to play queen f2 and trying to triple on the file. That's a very good plan. The knight could be considered bad in here, but there's no need for you to get him out of here already. You can start to build up some sort of an attack in the f file, but this just loses time on your attack, and it's not the quickest. Exchanging this knight, I can just take and put my knight back on here, so not so good. So then queen e7, I'm just trying to activate my queen, get this diagonal right here. Now straight just going with plan to exchange the knights. I take, he takes with the rook, and I play knight e5, gaining a tempo and getting my knight to be in the game. Very natural move. Now rook f2, now you can see why that move back then was bad, because you're losing tempo backing up, and I just still got this strong knight. It didn't do much. And now I just play queen to g5. Very good move. I love playing these types of moves because it's very invasive to his position. And now I just get what I want every game, which is to be attacking. He is defending. I love this every game. Knight to b1. This is the move that he shouldn't play. This is his start to his downfall, because this move is just so slow. Once you're defending, you cannot play this slow chess. It's just not good. You won't make good progress out of it. He wants to go to d2 f3 to exchange this knight, but it's not good. It's very slow and he'll pay for it. You'll see in a minute. Rook a8, just very natural move controlling the a file. I had to do this move at a moment. And knight e2, the natural move, I guess, just going for his slow plan. After I think rook a2, I just want to invade onto his second file. I mean, I'm ruling game, I want to attack, and his plan is way too slow. I'm going to double up on the a file and start to attack along his second rank. Knight to f3, what a move. He's still very much convinced of his plan of putting the knight to f3 to exchange my good knight for his bad knight, but it just took a lot of time. Now it's way too bad for him. I take, kind of fourth move, and now you can see how he cannot take the rook because he'll hang his bishop, so pawn takes. Queen to e3, truly a mistake here for me. Now my advantage is almost gone because, well, this move doesn't do much. I thought there was some sort of pin here that would work for me, but, he does not hang like a pin or something. There is no pressure on this pawn. There is really none. That is a move that I thought of and I played it, but like seconds after I just thought, okay, that's not good. Now I just give him time to try and exchange queens in the best way, like queen e2. I just give him breathing space. Now here my opponent once again makes sort of a mistake in rapid game. He wastes 1.5 minutes of his time, so that's not good. He's running onto time problems by now. But then he replies with a mistake also. He replies rook d3. He wants to attack my queen, he wants to go into the driver's seat, but now I can just replace my queen onto a better square, so it'd be like g5 or f4 as I did in the game. But you know, this move is not good. You do not want to like leave this file just for your queen. Now there will be threats on a1, very strange. So queen f4, just putting my queen on the best square since he let me do this, right? I was already seeing that back then, but I just played queen e3, kind of stupid. And then he played rook g2. This move is even more stupid, I have to say it. Oh my god, what are you doing? This is just passing tempo and like making the king even worse. You cannot just now run to g2. So I get my chance, I go rook f8, and I just trying to double up and create threats here on a1 and on a3. And rook d1. Yes, this is a fairly okay move. It solves the threat of rook a1 pinning the queen to the king, but now there's two problems into his position, which is that he left the third rank, so now this pawn is very, very weak, and he's not defending this pawn, so I'll just make sure to attack the pawn and attack the third rank, and this will go very massive for him. So bishop c8, just as planned. Now I can find the move that was best the whole game to put the bishop on c8, because now there's big threat. And rook gd2. It's doubling up, of course, and it's defending the pawn that was attacked here on the diagonal, is defending by the queen. But now he's just that. This position has nothing good to do. He just has to pass tempos with the rooks. Is completely paralyzed. So now I have time to do anything I want. Rook from 8 to a3. Now I'm just trying to get this threat. You cannot keep defending this pawn. I mean, you're just so overloaded with my pieces just coming up to your naked king. It's very hard to defend, and here there's basically nothing that you can do. I mean, even my bishop is playing an attack role, so yeah, you're just very bad. Now, rook f2, this is a fair move. I mean, you're defending the pawn, you're still defending the bishop, but the problem is the rook is overloaded. It's defending the pawn, and also the bishop. It's going to be bad for him. So here, I have a lot of pressure on that f3 pawn. It's even more important than the bishop sometimes because there's a lot of checks opportunities onto this diagonal here. So here I hit him with the brilliant sacrifice. Rook takes c2. A brilliant tactic is marked from chess.com as brilliant because here basically we are prying away the defense to the king so we can get that free pawn, and now the king, you can see it's very naked in here. It lost the defense of this one pawn, and you can see that after takes and rook takes, we will have here a fork between the queen and this pawn, and the king will just be in the corner, right? And we will be able to checkmate it. So rook takes e2, no explanation needed to this, and then rook takes f3. As I said, it's forking both the queen and the pawn. Remember, the bishop in the corner here is securing this pawn, and this is just very solid for me. I mean, I could not be happier than in this position because getting this pawn here just allows me to have a king with literally no protection. And when I mean no protection, I'm saying it. He will not have any pawns protecting his king. I have 3, and my king has a lot of squares to go to. He doesn't. He's in the corner. Queen g1, not the best because it takes this square from the king, but it's okay. I take on h3, of course, right? And then he protects rook h2. This move is kind of solid, you know, you're just trying to make some reason square for the king. But then the subtle queen f3, I mean, game over. I'm checking the king, is almost checkmated. You cannot block off the rook because of the pin. If you feel blocked off the queen, then I take a rook in the corner, and I'm just up a bishop. Nice game. So if you made that part of the video, which I kind of doubt, but okay, just please, if you could, like and subscribe, follow my channel, you know, I post chess content, and it's going to be amazing for me. Thank you.